All right, cool.
Perfect. What is going on, everybody? Today I am joined by Mr. Bag and Tag himself, Nathan Jones, ahead of, I believe it's a title fight on Fightstar Championships, not too far away. Preparing for this fight. How are you feeling for it, buddy?
Yeah, man, I feel excited. So I'm feeling excited. I'm not too long finished training. I'm a bit like, but no, I'm excited. I'm raring to go. Yeah, we're 3 weeks out. Weight's good. Sparring's going well. Just fine tuning those finishing touches, and yeah, I am bringing that title back 100% with no doubt.
100%. And looking at this fight, obviously, it's a return to somewhat the regional scene, but even Fightstar, the progression that they're making at the moment, they're soon going to be at the same quality of these shows. But to back there, the home crowd being there, what's that going to be like going into there?
You know what? Yeah, it's not a step down. I don't see it as a step down. Joe Cummins brings a lot to the table. Do you know what I mean? And I can easily fight him or anyone with the same stats as him on Bellator, Cage Warriors. Do you know what I mean? So I don't see it as a step down. If anything, I see it as me bringing it home. I'm back home, London. You know, grassroots. These kind of venues is where I made my name, and these are the kind of venues where I felt most at home. You know. You hear the echo, you know what I mean, and you really become one with the atmosphere. You know, with these big arenas, they're cool, but if they ain't sold out or you're early on and they're not filled out yet, you know what I mean. It doesn't have the same kind of vibe, you know. So I'm really looking forward to being Crystal Palace Sports Centre.
You know, and then people that might look at your recent fights and sort of underrate you for it if they didn't watch those fights, something like that. But in terms of, like, obviously, still a very high-level fighter going into this one as well, do you feel as though winning this fight is a bit of a statement as well to get back inside of the win column?
Absolutely. You know, a lot of these so-called fans, you know what I mean, they're all for Instagram. Oh, well, you have to win, or do you know what I mean? It has to be a certain show. It's not about that. I've been fighting top tier guys for at least the last like 6-7 years. They've all been top tier guys. Do you know what I mean? So getting a win will make a statement, absolutely, as it always does. And at the same time, you know, I want to get my mojo back. I want to ride that momentum and get back out there as soon as I can. You know. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm in good spirits.
Yeah, and you've already mentioned it's sort of a return back to home show, but looking at the progression of UK MMA as a whole, you've mentioned that 6-7 years been fighting the top level competition. Before that, still fighting as well. But to really see the progression of the sport in the UK, especially England, what's that been like to see, just being around the scene for so long?
Yeah, it is great. You know, the level of MMA in this country is astronomical compared to when I first started out. And when I first started out, like 12 years ago, the pros then, what they used to tell me, oh, the sport's changed. You look at the amateurs nowadays, oh my goodness, their level is amazing. Do you know what I mean? They're already like pro level credentials and stuff. The way that they train as well. You know, we've got a lot more exposure from media outlets, a lot more backing from the sponsors. You know, even at the amateur circuit, people are willing to invest. You know, which wasn't the case 10 years ago. You know, and to get a sponsor 10 years ago, you were lucky, and that was just like maybe a free product. You know what I mean? Now it is a lot more easily accessible to get back in, to help people with their training. You know, and I think for the UK, we've not that we've been behind in terms of the coaching, in terms of the sparring has always been great, but I've always felt we were behind in that the resources and the facilities and you know, having to overcome obstacles of traveling from one place to one place. These other big gyms around the world, these top level gyms, they have everything under one roof. Do you know what I mean? And I think we're definitely making big strides, and you can see, like, look at the, Leon Edwards. He's the welterweight champ. Do you know what I mean? And before him, you know what I mean, McGregor. I know he was Irish, but I would still class Irish, UK, and Ireland like in the same bubble, and Bisping. So we are making a breakthrough. There's no doubt about it.
100%. And like, even as you mentioned there, like the fighters that are gone on to be UFC champions or really big names, even those fighters that haven't or gone on to win the titles, there's still been a big part of the UK scene and helping it progress just by establishing themselves as high-level pros like yourself. But to sort of be a part of the scene when it first came through and to be where you are now in the position, do you look back on it and quite proud of where you are, or do you still have a lot of things that you want to achieve in the sport?
Absolutely. I'm glad you know what I mean? Like you said it like myself there. You know what I mean? But no, it's absolutely true. I'm proud of my achievements. I'm proud of not so much where I started, but what I had when I started, which is I didn't have anything. It was like we could do jiu-jitsu 1 hour every other day when I very first started. And I thought I was quite old when I started training. I was 23 when I started training. So it kind of propelled me to develop that hunger and get as much information as I could, because I had, that time clock as such. So I'm proud to be able to be on the journey that I'm on, because I know people have had more opportunity than I have, or more resources, and not achieved as much, But I still have more to achieve in this sport, hence why I'm still fighting, still competing. And I always want to be an example for those that maybe don't have a martial arts background, or maybe those that have a full-time job, or maybe those that have started a little bit later on in their life, that if you want to do this, you can do this. There's nothing stopping you. So go get it, really.
100%. You mentioned there in terms of starting the sport and training, obviously, there's a lot more resources, as you mentioned already, for people who don't even want to fight, just to get into martial arts and train or watch with youth clubs, everything like that. But if you could give a message to those that maybe want to train but are hesitating maybe a little bit, what would you say to them in terms of starting the journey within mixed martial arts, however they want that to look?
Yeah, I would always say the hardest thing is to turn up. Do you know what I mean? So once you step through that door, you've already overcome the hardest thing. The second hardest thing is to keep going. Do you know what I mean? It is going to be hard, but it's not going to get any easier if you stop and you quit. Do you know what I mean? Martial arts for me is a gift. Martial arts reflects a lot of everyday life. You can learn a lot through martial arts and develop yourself a lot through martial arts. Overcoming adversity being one, learning something new being another, discovering yourself. When you're under duress, when the pressure's on, when the shit hits the fan. Do you know what I mean? Do you give up and quit? Do you throw your dollies out the pram, or do you bite down your gum shield, dust yourself off, and get on and go get it? Do you know what I mean? And for me, martial arts is always that a place of practice. So if you don't get it right first time, cool. All right, next time, learn from the mistakes, and that's the kind of attitude that's kept me touch wood, still looking pretty, touch wood, you know what I mean, injury free, and still a lot more years left in the tank to keep learning and keep progressing, So in a nutshell, that's what I would tell people.
And then to touch back on your fight a little bit, obviously it's a very exciting card. There's a lot of great names on there, and the great fights as well, from amateurs to the pros. But in terms of looking at that fight and looking at your opponent, how do you see the fight going? Or do you have an ideal way that you want it to go? Or I mean, the win would be the ideal way, but
yeah,
in terms of
a perfect world, it's going to get done in one. No injuries, still looking pretty. Get that belt, roll in, roll out. Holla! That's how it's going down. But at the same time, in all seriousness, I'm prepared for 3 hard rounds of war. Joe Cummins is bringing the best out of me. He is a legitimate competitor, and he deserves to share that cage with myself. Therefore, my training is leaving no stone unturned. Do you know what I mean? We are training hard. I'm doing a lot of technical training, a lot of S&C training, a lot of extra hours training to prepare for this fight, you know, and however it goes, you know what I mean? I see it me coming out on top, no doubt.
100%. And then obviously won't be overlooking this fight whatsoever. But in terms of moving in to the sort of next year, is the goal to defend the belt a few times or to get back to these other shows? Or are you just more
Yeah,
personal
I
to
mean,
take things as they come along?
never say never. You know, it always things can change and stranger things have happened. You know what I mean? I've had it in my head. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that, and this will happen. And one thing goes wrong, and like Jenga, everything like falls to pieces. So I've learned, and I've learned the hard way not to look too far ahead. You know, I'm gonna get this fight done, then I'll sit down with my coaches and reevaluate. You know, the chips on the table and see what opportunities come my way. I only see good things happening from a win. So yeah, if there is opportunity to defend the title with the right opportunities, you know, right money, right exposure, right opponent, then why not? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, we'll see how it comes. I'm taking each fight as one at a time, you know.
Yeah, and then the final thing from me, in terms of what you'd let the fans know that they can expect to see come fight night, what can they expect to see from the fight at least in terms of what's going to go down in there?
You know what? They're gonna see two fully grown men, yeah, eating steak. And I'll tell you something, I do not share. All right. It's gonna be a nice juicy steak there, the belt's on the line. I ain't sharing, you know. This is one for the fans. You know, I'm gonna bring my A game. I expect Joe to do the same. We're gonna meet in the center, and it's gonna be what I hope to be a brilliant display of mixed martial arts. You know, that's one thing I win or lose. I always aim to do. You know, I always try to do it for the fans. So. Yeah, look, 19th of November, it's going down, Crystal Palace. It is a stacked card, main event, welterweight title on the line. It can't get better than that, you know. 3 weeks to go, guys.
It can't not. That is everything from myself. I really appreciate your time. Obviously, just feel free to take a moment to share any sponsors, teammates, socials, anything like that. Just feel free to go ahead, buddy.
Absolutely. First of all, yeah, I want to shout out London Shoe Fights. I want to shout out Elevate Martial Arts. I also want to shout out the Barefoot Method, Mark Manet for the S&C, Laura Fenton, Rolls and Rehab. I want to shout out Scramble. I also want to shout out Truth Origins and Kirk. Shout out Training Tunes. Shout out I Play Safe app. Shout out Tailor Made Plumbing and Heating. Shout out everybody that supported me, taking an interest in this fight. You know, I cannot wait. Do you know what I mean? If you want to follow my journey at Mr. Bag and Tag, guys, walk with me. What can I say? Let's go.
100%. Well, that's everything from myself. Obviously, November 19th, Mr. Bag and Tag himself is back in the cage. It's a home show, home crowd. These regional shows are always packed out. There's always action going down. Fightstar Championships. Don't miss it. Miss the main event. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much, buddy.
No, thank you. Cheers.
Pleasure, my friend. Thank you very much.
Nice.